Have you ever picked up a controller to play a new game, not really knowing what you're in for, but the excitement of something new has you invested until you get stomped on by other players that have been doing it for longer and know the ins and outs? It's not just video games either. A card game, a board game, a sport for the first time, pretty much anything you're more knowledgeable than another opponent is, you have the advantage. Throw skill difference in there, and that's when you get that total domination. Being on the receiving end of that isn't exactly fun, however, and oftentimes if it happens too frequently, it completely deters you from a game or activity which we don't want, right? To mitigate this in video gaming, a little something called skill-based matchmaking was created, so that's what we'll discuss in this video and why we like it at the DMG team. Hey, Danny with the DMGT here, your new favorite place for all things music, gaming, and tech commentary. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on any videos. Now, the concept of skill-based matchmaking is pretty straightforward. You play a game and you get matched with similarly skilled players to you, or players with varying degrees of skill get grouped as equally as possible, taking into consideration a myriad of stats based on the game, for example, KD ratio, win-loss ratio, kill damage per minute, and so on. The nice part about this, especially if you're playing by yourself, is that you rarely encounter someone who is so much better that no one has a chance. Usually it does a pretty good job of leveling the playing field and gives you a reasonable chance of winning. Of course, it doesn't mean that you always win, it just means that winning is equally as likely as losing, so your individual performance is impactful but not all-encompassing. However, many games have slowly turned away from skill-based matchmaking over the years, and part of this has to do with the cons of that matchmaking method, as it's not as foolproof in practice as it is on paper. Namely, skill-based matchmaking means that as you get better, the competition gets better, leading to more competitive matches that may or may not be more fun. On top of that, say you want to play with a friend or sibling that is significantly more skilled than you are at a game, that usually means you're going to be matched against similarly skilled players on the opposing end, which can lead to some lopsided matches or intense games where only the top one or two players really perform. That said, here at the DMGT, we actually really like skill-based matchmaking. The nature of online multiplayer games is competitive in the first place, so while we totally get not wanting to get stomped by better players, it's that dash of competitiveness that makes things fun, even if you're playing casually. That's sort of the whole appeal of games like Call of Duty. With the rise of Battle Royale type games, skill-based matchmaking gets a little bit more attention, and after a cursory online search, it seems that generally sentiment isn't positive for this type of matchmaking, but it's not like we're alone in liking it either. That also might have something to do with the Battle Royale game mode specifically, as it's much less likely to win a match of those versus a standard multiplayer online match. Still, let's start with some pros on our side.
The way to get in the basement?
Oh, there is.
There's a tunnel? Found them.
Spencer and myself are about similarly skilled, so our duo matches can be a little intense, but usually we average some moderate success and can at least rank in the top 10 or 5 teams at least once during a session. That said, we aren't exactly pro-grade players, but enough to get close to victory, and I myself have won a solos match exactly one time. I just needed to brag about that, but the point stands. There's little chance I'd be able to do that in something like Fortnite if I casually wanted to hop in. The point is, we're having fun. On the flip side, however, whenever we queue up with my younger brother who's way better than both of us, that's when we get teams that are clearly more skilled, and while we still enjoy our playtime, it's definitely way more competitive and have a harder time winning, which is potentially the single greatest detractor to skill-based matchmaking. Less incentive to play casually with friends with a wide gap in skill. And as I mentioned previously, that's amplified even further in Battle Royale games where only a very limited subset of a large player group gets to actually win.
Wow.
Oh no, he's right here.
Damn. What?
Alright. Personally, I still argue that the nature of first-person shooter multiplayer game remains competitive, and while I understand the it's less fun because it's too competitive argument, I don't buy the being punished for getting better. That almost sounds like you want to be rewarded by getting better by stomping on less skilled players, which brings us full circle. At the end of the day, everyone is free to have their opinions, and this one is just ours. But for us, the casual game needs are met through party games like Mario Party, Rocket League, Fall Guys, Among Us, Overcooked, Jackbox, Mario Kart, and so on. Sure, you can make any of those as competitive as possible, but the other great part is if you lose, you can quickly hop back into another match. Unlike some titles. But that's it. We just like skill-based matchmaking and wanted to get a video out there that was more on the pro side of it than the negative side of it. So let us know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll catch you next time.